What's cracking, guys? Bruce Madsen here, your host show of Metric Scout Fantasy Football. And the first round of the NFL Draft is now complete. It is in the books, and now it's time to look at what just happened. And one thing I want to talk about is Malik Willis, because he did not get drafted. He is going into tomorrow, into the second round, maybe third round, still on the board. He is still on the board to be drafted. We went through 32 picks. All the teams looked at him, and they said no. Of course, a lot of them did not need him, but there were some teams that needed a quarterback, and they were like, nah, we're going to pass. We're going to go defense. We're going to go line. We're going to get some receivers. We're going to keep things moving. Even the Steelers, they pulled the trigger on Kenny Pickett, and they were like, yep, we're going to go with the guy with the messed up hands over Malik Willis here. So what's up with Malik Willis? What should we be thinking about him? Right now, he is free falling, and he is a risky asset. The jeopardy of him being a 102 in Superflex leagues is big time. It's big time. He could be falling even further throughout the second round. He could be a mid-second rounder, late second rounder, early third rounder. Who knows? We also have other quarterbacks left on the board. Sam Howell, Matt Corral, and a few others. Desmond Ridder. If one of those guys gets selected ahead of him, the NFL's really telling us something, because they already just told us that he's not worth being drafted in the first round. They're telling us that he's not worth paying premium draft capital for, which means that they look at him as a big-time developmental prospect, and that was in the books there. We saw it on tape. There were some throws that were out of this world. He was making big plays. He was slinging it downfield. We saw the rushing ability. We saw the good stuff. But the bad stuff was there too. The horrendous passes, the inaccurate throws, some of the bad decision-making, that was there on tape. It was there. It was magnified. And we saw the best of both worlds here, or the best of one world and the worst of another. And NFL teams saw that, and they were like, we need a quarterback. You know what? I'm going to hold on to Sam Darnold. You know what? I'm going to draft Kenny Pickett over him. You know what? Let's see what we can do with him in the second round. Let's see if he even gets drafted in the second round. Who knows? I look for him to get drafted in the second round, but I was looking for him to get drafted in the first round too. So we just got to see what happens here. But right now, he's a faller. He's in day 2 now, which isn't a good look for quarterbacks. We had some day 2 quarterbacks become starters, become fantasy relevant. So that's not that big a deal, but it does create some more risk into his prospect profile, and that's something we got to account for when it comes to valuing him in rookie drafts. Is he the 102 behind Breece Hall anymore in Superflex? Are we paying for that? It really depends on where he goes, how much farther he slips, and if he looks like he has a pathway for an opportunity, because he does have the attributes to become a QB1 in fantasy sooner than later, but there's also a risk that he's a face planter. That is also in the cards. This is not the greatest quarterback class. I've been saying this the whole time. Like, I don't really like this quarterback class. I'm probably going to take the guy who slept on the most, who Twitter hates the most. That's my strategy here. A lot of people are hating on Kenny Pickett already, so he may be a decent value here, and he was the first-round quarterback. Makes sense to me, but we really got to see how this landscape lays out for us, because we could see another one of these quarterbacks get drafted in the second round, go into a good situation, and maybe 2 years down the road, they develop into a starter with some good assets to work with. Who knows what happens? But the further these quarterbacks fall, the further they get in this territory where they just could become backups behind solid starters. That could even happen to Malik Willis, because the cheaper he gets, the easier you can make the case, being like, well, I could just have him as a backup now. I pay a late second, overpay on draft capital, but I don't have to pay that much on salary, and I can have him for a few years, and maybe he can become my starter one day, and I can use him as a developmental piece. We see a lot of strange things from these teams. They were going crazy on the draft picks tonight, throwing off wide receivers off the board real quick, throwing picks in instantly once they were on the clock. This draft has been nutty this year. Trades galore. A.J. Brown got dealt to the Eagles. Anything could happen. And I can't tell you that he's not going to end up being a backup once things are done with this draft, because the further you fall, the more likely that could happen, because eventually he'll be at the price point for every NFL team. So we just have to pay attention. Maybe he'll be drafted early in the second round and we can recalibrate. But right now, Malik Willis is free falling, and he could become that guy that just falls in our rookie drafts, and we're just pulling strings on him second, third round, even in Superflex, because of the rushing production, the big play upside that he has. But let me know what you think about him in the comments. We still got a lot of draft to go, so things could shape up, so keep being open-minded about it. I could be changing my mind. I don't even have my mind made up on anything yet, but I really want to just talk to this camera real quick about Malik Willis just to get my thoughts out there. But drop your thoughts down there in the comments section. Hit that like button. Make sure you hit that subscribe button on the way out. Every subscription matters. I'm going to be dropping a lot of content over the weekend, over this draft, getting you ready for your rookie drafts. A lot of you guys are going to be having rookie drafts going on, starting maybe even right now. And I'm going to be there for you. If you got questions on what to do for trades or whatever your picks, let me know. I'll try to assist you in the comments. If not, try to help somebody else in the comment section if you got the answer for them. But I want to thank you again, and I'll catch you next time.